Everyone's waiting for Fed Chair Powell and what he's going to say tomorrow. Okay. I mean, there's another FOMC meeting. People are wondering what he's going to say. We already know he's not going to have a rate cut tomorrow. It's almost certain that there is going to be no rate cut tomorrow. In fact, 99.4% chance he will just leave rates the way it is. But still, people are always trying to read in between the lines, trying to put two and two together, trying to forecast what may be coming. And people are just scared, especially Wall Street. They are scared he may say something that's out of ordinary, I guess, something unexpected. And that's why, a lot of them have sold off a little bit ahead of the meeting, right? Now, when I say a little bit, for them, is a little bit. For the rest of us, it could be a lot because that's why markets move. It happens almost every single time. Ahead of a Fed meeting, you have a down market. It should not come as a surprise at this point in time, okay? Every single time. So we will see what happens tomorrow. Today, actually, they start the meeting. And tomorrow, that's when there's a press release. And then there's a big press conference. And then Powell will say what he normally says, which is, well, based on the data, inflation is still elevated, but we are seeing signs of economic slowness. Jobs report, even though temporarily shows that we are gaining jobs, unemployment, long-term jobs is decreasing, which is why unemployment's going up. And then he's going to talk about all that stuff, right? And maybe I'll stream it, maybe not. I don't know. I've streamed it way too many times. And he kind of says the same thing over and over again, but maybe I'll stream it tomorrow. But this is the reason why Bitcoin dipped down. Okay, now, despite it going down, we still have a lot of great things, guys. Like I said, it's not like something we haven't seen before. We have seen Bitcoin at these levels many, 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 many times within the last 3 months. We've been going sideways for the last 3 months, right? And we had a lot of dips, up and down dips. Yes, we see them all the time. All the time, right? So this should not really be a surprise at this point. However, even with that said, Bitcoin is still the easiest way to become a millionaire, according to Robert Kiyosaki, and I agree with that. Bitcoin is the easiest way to become a millionaire. Making millions as an entrepreneur is hard. I know you have to be really smart, dedicated, and lucky to become a millionaire starting your own business. I say Bitcoin because Bitcoin does the hard work for me. This is why I love Bitcoin. This is one of his only tweets where it's only about Bitcoin. Normally he throws in gold and silver in there. But this is true. Nothing has out-appreciated Bitcoin in the last 10 years or even 5 years or since the beginning of time when Bitcoin started in 2009, right? And it's gone up millions and millions of percents, right? If you look at where we have come from, I guess, from just last year alone, I mean, we're talking about hundreds of percents. And annualized, Bitcoin is averaging 140%, right? So nothing out appreciates Bitcoin. That's why you just have to ignore short-term volatility and focus on holding. That's really it. HODL for life-changing wealth. That's what you have to do with Bitcoin. And it's the easiest way to become a millionaire. Just simply by holding and plus a little DCAing along the way. That's really it. That's really it. But now this cycle is a little bit different because we know as retail investors, long-term holders have been doing this forever. It's the ultimate strategy. But this cycle is different because now we have companies and institutions also embracing this. Metaplanet, which, is a gaming company out of Japan, it has really nothing to do with Bitcoin and has nothing to do with MicroStrategy. But guess what? They just continue to DCA now. They just add more Bitcoin. Whenever there's a dip, whenever they have free cash, what do? They just buy the dip because they now understand. Okay, from a publicly traded company perspective, yes, buying Bitcoin gives you really good press. and their stock jumps, right? But think about that. Why does that happen now? Because now holding Bitcoin is seen as a good idea, not as a bad idea. Prior, like MicroStrategy in 2022, 2023, when it disclosed anytime it bought more Bitcoin, its stock actually went down. It didn't go up, but that's different now. Now, Wall Street and investors finally realize, oh my God, holding Bitcoin is the ultimate strategy, even for a public trade company. So now, someone like Metaplanet, not only do they understand that, but also they do believe that, hey, fiat is going to zero. Inflation will be a forever thing. The best way to hedge against inflation is to hold Bitcoin, right? So now you're starting to see companies do the same thing that retail investors have been doing for a decade, which is to HODL and DCA. We're seeing that every single day, basically now, or every single week, we get new reports of existing companies buying and new companies buying, right? So Metaplanet, they started buying, several months ago? Maybe even last year, but they're relatively new compared to, say, MicroStrategy. But yesterday I also mentioned about DeFi Technologies, a public trade company in Canada. Their stock went up 23% because they also declared that they have bought Bitcoin, 110 Bitcoin, and they're going to continue to do so moving forward, right? So now this cycle, we have public trade companies and, of course, institutions both buying Bitcoin. And that has never happened before in previous history of any Bitcoin cycle, with the exception of MicroStrategy. Yes, they started in 2020, but outside of that, no one else was doing it. This cycle is different because they understand, right? So as retail investors right now, unfortunately, we're fighting, over the existing Bitcoin that exists with these large institutions and financial tech companies and banks and public trade companies, right? So that is the reality. And this is what it looks like, okay? Those of you guys that understand this will be Bitcoiners forever. The amount of money out there versus the available supply, this is exactly what it looks like. There's not enough Bitcoin to go around, especially now with what I said, institutions, banks, financial tech companies, and retail investors, long-term holders that are continuing to buy the available supply, but there's so much money that is going to be funneled in the near future. It's going to be impossible to even buy one Bitcoin, because it's going to become so expensive. This is what I'm talking about in terms of life-changing wealth. Let it come to you. All you have to do is HODL and DCA and ignore the volatility and just let the gains come to you. If you want to comment on anything I've said in this video, make sure you head over to the Roundtable. The Roundtable is a new social media platform created for conversations. And best of all, it's spam-free, bot-free, unlike here on YouTube. And you could have conversations with me and others like Altcoin Daily, Scott Melker, Mauro Nafal, and many others are joining daily. And you also get rewarded in tokens for doing so. So check out the new Roundtable. Click the link in the description below.